Let's go for a ride. Scratch Babble.
Looks like we might have a little race against the weather. Hey, Jim, Scratch. Some of you know me as the morning guy on Highway 98 Country. Some of you know me as Scratch Babble on YouTube. Some of you know me as Jim. And those of you who don't know me, I've been riding motorcycles for about 3 years. My one and only motorcycle is a Kawasaki KLR 650 because I was bitten by the adventure bug. And this beast right here has always been the holy grail. And thank you to Adventure Motorsports of Northwest Florida. I'm having a chance to ride one right now. R1250 GS, I believe it's a 2019. I've only done a few reviews on a few different bikes over the time, and if you're not familiar, you can get the specs 100 other places from people who know a lot more than me. Of course, if you already ride a GS, you're not going to learn anything new from me. But what I try to do is I try to tell you, compared to what you may be riding, what's it feel like to ride this thing? I come from a single cylinder thumper. So to say that the technology on this thing blows it away, along with pretty much everything else, yeah, that's not an understatement. Right out of the chute, the acceleration on this thing is ridiculous. The brakes on this thing are ridiculous. The handling on this thing is, I don't know how to explain it. It's different from the KLR, obviously. I wouldn't say that it's like less responsive, because as I ride this bike, and excuse the wind noise, but it's hot today. And as you can see, it's about to get more humid. But as I ride this thing, even as I moved it out of my garage, out onto my driveway, I don't get the sense of there being a huge weight difference. But regardless, the handling is, I don't know how to explain it. Not heavier, not sluggish, but maybe a hair more vague than the KLR. Does that make sense? And of course, this is in a standard mode, this motorcycle. So I haven't made any adjustments other than to the seat. So I'd probably have the foot pegs in a different position. If it was mine, I'd have different windscreen. I'd make, to make it fit me. But good Lord, this engine is ridiculous. I drove it home about 50 miles from the dealership to my house, from Pensacola to Fort Walton Beach. I got it out on the highway, and at one point I was going 75 miles an hour, which on my KLR feels like it's about to explode. I mean, it does it, and it's fine, but it feels like it's about to explode, and it is vibey. Not this thing. This thing at 75 miles an hour felt like 45 on my KLR. It is unreal, the difference. So what I'm going to try to do is beat the rain and get off this thing up here in just a second and do a walk around to give you an idea. 2019 R1250 GS. This thing is ridiculous. I would take one of these in a heartbeat. Is it going to do what the KLR will do, like up in Blackwater? Maybe with the rider much better than me. Not with me. But it would take me down the highway in comfort, and it would get me some lighter off-road trails, and I'd be happy with that. I'm looking for something that I can tour longer distances on and do a little off-road when I get there, to add in addition to the KLR. The seat height, not quite as high as the KLR, but close. It's wider between the legs than the KLR. And I'm going to run through all the little gadgets here when I get off the bike. So, all right, Light, in a year. Ooh, look at that sky. All right, my apologies for what's probably going to be a rush vlog, and I even forgot my microphone, but nonetheless, R1250 GS 2019. This thing is amazing, and as I mentioned to begin with, if you want a professional review from someone who knows all about motorcycles and all about this motorcycle, you're not going to get that here. What you're going to get here is the impression of this bike from a guy who has only been riding about 3 years, who loves adventure motorcycles and has a KLR, but that's what I'm coming from on this bike. And this bike is insane. So smooth, so powerful, so many rider aids, just an amazing motorcycle. The only thing you might have to do is maybe lower the pegs, swap out some pegs, maybe do something if you're taller for some risers, and possibly another windshield. The same things you would do to any other motorcycle to make it yours, but the engine on this motorcycle is ridiculous. That boxer engine you've heard 1,000 times being down low keeps the balance of the bike very, very nice. That's absolutely the truth. Very, very nice. Now I'm in bright sunshine, so we'll see what the TFT looks like in the bright sunshine. It looks pretty stinking good, and I'm even looking at it through sunglasses. Now we're in road mode. As you see in the upper right, I can hit that button and bring up different modes. Dynamic is sportier. Enduro, rain, road. I can also, from this side, select different menus, which then takes me to a variety of things. On this menu, I got, well, pretty much everything you need to know about the bike right there. Again, I'm no expert, so you're not going to get a huge technical overview from me, but I can tell you that if you're a new rider and you're wondering, is this too much bike for me? Not if you have a healthy sense of self-preservation. If you're easy on the throttle and you give yourself time, any newer rider. Yeah, I still consider myself a newer rider, and especially since I've only ever ridden a KLR. So coming from an acceleration that can be clocked in weeks to acceleration that can be clocked in 2 or 3 seconds, yeah, you need some time to get used to that. You need some time to get used to the brakes. I haven't had a chance to do, I've been very ginger on the roads because I haven't had a chance to do any emergency braking, so I don't know the ratio of front to back I need to give it. I know it's anti-lock. I did feel the anti-lock kick in one time when traffic stopped in front of me unexpectedly, but the bike did not waver. It really is an incredible bike. I'm told that as it sits, it's roughly $23,000. I've been on Harleys that are $23,000. The fit and finish on a BMW, similar to that of a Harley, in that they do such a good job. It's such a solid planted bike. And with the rider aids, for a more novice rider, it's a perfectly acceptable motorcycle. I want to thank Adventure Motorsports of Northwest Florida and Pensacola for letting me ride it. All right, now I'm going to get back on it. I had hoped to take it. I'm going to try to go north of here so I can open it up just a little bit, not a lot, and give you a sense of the acceleration. But if you have a chance, of course, if you live in Northwest Florida, you could go to Adventure Motorsports and test ride this yourself, as you can test ride all of their bikes. They also carry now Ducati, Kawasaki, they've got Suzuki, they've got Ural, they've got Indian, I know I'm leaving one or two out. But I'll put a link up in the description, and I'll probably put a card right here. All right, enough talk, time to ride. All right. I did that the other day, and when I got it, when I hit it correctly on the second adjustment, I did it too quick, let the clutch out too quick, and that's when the wheel popped into the air. Amateurs. I know, there's a lot of you guys that are experienced on motorcycles and have been riding a while that are looking at this. Well, you're probably still not even here. But if you are, this is part of what learning is all about. Still learning. I'm going 67 miles an hour now, and I am serious. It's like going 40 miles an hour on my KLR. All right, see, and that's why I have to be careful. I am going faster than I should be, so I will be slowing down. It's just so smooth and planted and stable, and I mean, it's gusty and windy right now because it storms in the area. And to finish off what I was saying earlier, I think the steering is just a hair more sluggish than the KLR, and I'm not saying that as a knock to it, because most of you are probably hearing that and going, well, no shit. But I mean, this thing tracks like a laser. Just everything's so smooth and effortless. Just such a pleasure. You know, and surprisingly, like this windshield, I feel wind around my chest. I'm not really feeling that much on my head. So even though the wind's not going over my head, this is all clear air. Miles an hour, second gear. Wow. It is just so smooth. This thing belongs in that museum. No disrespect intended, Air Force. Positives. Seating position is good. Probably have the handlebars a tad higher. The mirrors are smaller than what I'm used to, but they do a pretty good job. Personally, I'd lower the foot pegs because I'm definitely in a little more cramped riding position than my KLR. But again, all the ergonomic stuff is fixable. But the stuff that matters, just everything is so smooth. I'm going 56 mile an hour third gear. When I got on the expressway on the way home the other day, I was going 70 and looked down and realized, oh man, I got another gear. And that's one of the things about the smoothness of this particular engine. It's very quiet and smooth. And no matter what gear you're in, you really don't get a sense that it's ever laboring or it's ever over revving. So you will forget to shift. Now, riding this the second time, I can feel it better now when it starts getting up in the revs. But, oh my God, this is just so planted. I only have one so far thing that I'd even call a negative about this bike, and I would say the seat is not very comfortable. At least it's not to me. I noticed on the way home the other day, after about 40 miles, 35 miles, that my butt was starting to feel it a little bit more than I would prefer. Okay, so that was a little faster stop than I was prepared for, but it did it nicely. Of course, I wasn't going that fast. But yeah, the seat. I'm not a huge fan so far of the seat. Now, maybe it needs to be broken in. I would, if I bought this bike new, and it is new. It's the demo bike, so it's got about 1,200 miles on it. I don't know how much more it would take for it to be ridden every day for the seat to break in a little more, but that's the only thing that I can really, truly call a negative. You don't get a sense of the weight. The pickup is amazing. The brakes are amazing. The rider aids, hell, I'd have to drive this thing for a while to know whether it made a difference. I would assume there's a pretty big difference in the rain mode. Matter of fact. All right, I just put it in a rain mode. Let's see what we got here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, you still got the pickup, but it's dialed back. And definitely the pickup in first gear. Oh yeah, that was... Well, there's the answer for newbies. And what I should have done myself was got on this bike, put it in rain mode. Because it slows everything down. So nice. But it doesn't kill it. It doesn't make it too damn docile. It's there, and if you need it to get out of trouble, it's there. It just gives you a second to get, a split second to prepare, for lack of a better term. Now, on a side note for my KLR buddies, for the KLR delusionals, first of all, as you know, I'm never getting rid of the KLR. But I definitely want to add something in at least 1,000 cc. And again, it doesn't have to be able to do what the KLR can do off-road. It just needs to be able to go off-road a little bit when I get there. So would this new or used be an option if money was no object? Absolutely. Would this be my choice? I don't know, because there are other bikes I have yet to ride. I want to take out a DL1000 and see what that's like. The beauty of Adventure Motorsports of Northwest Florida is they're literally a mile from the highway. And that's what I'd be looking for a leader bike or better for, is comfortable highway ability and a smidgen of off-road. So I'd like to ride a few things, but this would definitely be on the list. New or used, I don't care. It would definitely be on the list. I really love this display. All right, I'm going to roll this thing back to the house. I want to thank Adventure Motorsports of Northwest Florida, James, the GM, for allowing me to take this for a couple days and vlog on it. I mean, I picked it up Saturday, drove it all the way home. I've ridden it to do this vlog today, and I rode around a little bit in between. And I'll be riding it back tomorrow. And it has been nothing but a pleasure. So go ahead, haters. If you're going to keep hating on the R1250 or the R1200 GS, you can, we'll just know that it has nothing to do with the motorcycle. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.